Time for business. Of course, I'm joined by business editor Owen Fairclough. Hello, Owen. Starting off with the European markets, they haven't been open very long.
Haven't been open long, still flat, Claire, picking up really from where they left off yesterday in the wake of that Greek bailout, that 130 billion euro deal for Greece. You can see in the green, no great shakes though on the European markets, but still a few gains at the opening bell. I should tell you that Peugeot's shares have surged 9% at the opening bell. That's on news of a potential tie-up with GM. We'll give you some more details on that a little bit later on. The Asian markets, similar kind of picture, choppy days trading out there. The Nikkei did manage to finish the day around 1% up and did drag the rest of the markets up with it.
Still a few earnings out there. France Télécom has caught your eye.
Yeah, a lot of people outside France will know France Télécom through the Orange mobile phone brand. Its latest earnings for the fourth quarter, earnings before tax, just shy of 3.5 billion euros. That's about 3.5% off compared to the same period last year. But perhaps of more interest to investors will be the revelation that France Télécom lost around 200,000 users to Free. This is the latest addition to the mobile phone market. You'll remember Claire announced a great fanfare earlier this year with huge price cuts or lower prices compared to France Télécom. So it's really shaken up the mobile phone market. So that's a big loss of France Télécom. 200,000 customers lost just in the first 2 months of this year to Free.
Next, the battle of the iPads. Apple has found itself in court once again over a copyright infringement, but this time the stakes are high. Chinese competitor ProView claims it has the rights to the iPad trademark, and the row is already hitting sales of the popular tablet in its most important new market. Paul James explains.
ProView Technologies, back in 2000, trademarked the name iPad for a tablet computer that it had created. Move ahead a few years, and Apple comes out and wants to buy up the trademark and goes out and negotiates. What happens is ProView says, no, we don't agree to the terms that you've come forward with, so Apple in turn sues. Now, a court late last year here in China ruled that Apple was in the wrong. So ProView Technologies in turn decides, well, we're going to file our own IPR case, and has been able to successfully shut down Apple's sales of its popular iPad tablets here in China. And this is the latest salvo in Shanghai to where the iPad may be shut down as well.
That was Paul James talking to us a little earlier from Beijing. Since we spoke to Paul, I can tell you that hearing involving Apple and ProView has been adjourned without a new date. The information we've had from that hearing is the case really centres on whether the sale of that trademark from ProView to Apple was legally valid, both in Taiwan, in ProView's native Taiwan, and indeed in mainland China. So we'll keep an eye on that for you, but no date as yet for the next hearing in that battle between the two firms. Let's stay with company news now and give you a few more headlines from the day. The EU is squaring up for a battle with Canada over tar sands oil. Lawmakers are drawing up new legislation that would grade oil from Alberta's vast fields as more polluting than others. Environmentalists claim crude extracted from tar sands is more carbon intensive than other forms of oil. The Canadian government says it's committed to responsible oil production.
Peugeot Citroën is in advanced talks with GM about a new alliance. That's according to the Financial Times. It's understood the French car maker and GM's European arms, Opel and Vauxhall, could go as far as developing vehicles together. Loss-making Peugeot has been looking for a partner for the last 2 years, having previously held fruitless discussions with Fiat.
And Mega Uploads founder Kim.com has been granted bail by a court in New Zealand. The German creator of the file-sharing website had spent a month in prison in New Zealand after being detained over allegations that he illegally made nearly $200 million by uploading films and TV shows. The court ruled that .com did not pose a risk of fleeing the country while it decides on whether he can be extradited to the United States.
Now, if you've ever wondered what your cabinet ministers earn and drive, or what their property portfolio looks like, then in Italy, you're in luck. That's because the government has published the personal accounts of its ministers. The reaction has been huge. Government websites crashed as voters scramble to find out. And Seema Gupta is following this for us, and she joins us now from Rome. Hello, Seema. Give us all the juicy details then.
Yes, definitely lots of interest in this here in Italy. It's made the front pages of most of the papers, a table of sorts of what has come out. And coming out right on top is Paola Severino. She's the Justice Minister, and her earnings came up to a whopping 7 million euros last year. And that is, of course, she was a successful attorney. And so you can expect that kind of figure. Coming in second place, so to speak, someone many would have thought would have beat out Paola Severino was Corrado Passera. Now, he's the development minister, and he used to be the chief executive of the Intesa San Paolo Bank, and his earnings were some 3.5 million. Now, the Prime Minister, Mario Monti, his earnings were published sometime late yesterday evening, and his figure came out to about 1.5 million euros. And there were also not just the earnings of the ministers in the cabinet, but also the various properties that they owned. Some interesting figures. You have some interesting facts. You have the foreign minister coming out that he owns a Harley Davidson motorcycle. So lots of interesting facts and figures there. Of course, all part of this Operation Transparency. Mario Monti promising that he will be transparent of what the ministers in his government earn.
Seema, you're going to have to be careful because people are going to want to look up what Seema Gupta, what kind of Ferrari or Maserati she has, or where she has her Swiss chalet. But this, as you mentioned, with this tax evasion was a big problem for the Italians. And as you mentioned there, Mario Monti wants to restore a bit more transparency, wants to perhaps restore some investor confidence in Italy as a country. Do you think this is going to go some way to doing that?
Well, I think for a lot of Italians, there was a lot of interest, as you said, the government side crashing and people wanting to know what is it they're earning. I think Italians feel that they've put in place made lots of sacrifices, what with all these austerity measures that have been put in place. And they want to see the political class, or as they are referred to here, the political caste. They want to see them doing the same thing. Now, if you look, for instance, at the development minister, he earned 3.5 million euros, but his salary now is some 200,000 euros. So it is a drop for him. And so I guess that's what they're looking at. And they also just want to see a certain amount of transparency. On top of that, it's not just about their earnings or about their assets, but also about the taxes that they paid. To give you an example, Paola Severino, who earned 7 million euros, she paid taxes of some 4 million euros. So I guess it's this understanding that, you know, nobody's above the idea of paying their taxes. Tax evasion, of course, being quite a problem in this country. Some estimates are that the country loses some 100 billion euros every year in unpaid taxes. And so the idea behind all of this is for transparency and clarity. At the same time, knowing that these ministers are not career politicians. They had careers as professors as well as experts in their fields before they joined the government. And so, yes, they probably they did earn more than the average Italian. But I guess this idea of openness is something very new here in Italy, and that's really what the people want to see.
7 million euros, Seema. Us humble hacks, I think we're in the wrong job here. Many thanks indeed. That was Seema Gupta in Rome for us. So 4 million euros, taxes on 7 million. That's a pretty high rate of tax when it is paid, I guess.
And like she said, just a little bit more than the average Italian. All right, thank you very much, Owen, for that look at the day's business news. And thank you for watching. Do stay tuned to France 24. Lorna Sharek will have all the latest headlines for you coming up in just a few minutes.